Error occurred. Go live. Wait a moment and try again. Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Eating at a Meeting podcast live edition. Each week, we're here talking to food and beverage experts around the world about how to create safe, sustainable, and inclusive food and beverage experiences. My guests today are two women that I have known for a good 10, 12 years out of Atlanta. And I'm excited to talk to them about their new adventure and what they've been creating and creating history. And what I'm celebrating this month is Women's History Month. Erin Kroom is the co-founder and CEO, and Asada Reed is the chef educator for Small Bites Adventure Club. And with the Small Bites Adventure Club, they create and ship fun and educational farm-to-table kits that help children, and I want to say adults too, discover, love, and eat fruits and vegetables. So I want to dive into what they're doing and share it with everybody else. Hey, Erin and Asada, how are you?
Hi, Tracy. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. I'm so excited. When I first saw it come out last year, I was like, oh, this sounds really interesting and fun. And Erin, you and I have known each other for a while through your Georgia Organics, what you did with them doing education around farm to table. And Asada, you and I met, I think we figured it out. It was through a sustainability workshop on a farm in Atlanta. But this is really something new. It's taking education around fruits and vegetables and shipping it to schools and shipping it to homes, right?
Yes.
Yes. So how did this come about?
Take it away, Erin. You're the origin story there.
Got it. So Austin and I have been working for years through our work with Georgia Organics and doing these taste tests with kids and schools and teachers. And we noticed something that really works to get kids to eat and love fruits and vegetables. And that is if they had an opportunity to look at it, to taste it, to try it, to have an experience with it. Not only were they more likely to try things that they never thought that they would try, that their parents never thought that they would try, but they were more likely to really love it and go home and ask for it. And so we thought, well, what's a way that we could make this more scalable and more replicable so we could reach more kids? Because, like Asta could only make it to, a few classes every week. So we teamed up with Judith Winfrey, who was building Peach Dish at the time. Right. And she had the food logistics and the shipping logistics kind of under wraps. And Jenna Mobley, who we've been working with for a long time, who's a certified educator. And we thought if we could all put our minds together and coming up with a way to create a turnkey resource for parents and for teachers that made it really easy for them to engage their kids about fruits and vegetables in ways that were really fun, that were really topical, and put farmers front and center as the real hero behind the product. We thought, that would be something really cool. It's something that's not on the marketplace. It would be really fun to make, and it could make a really big impact.
That's so fun because it's sending it back to their places. And I know, through what you were doing before with Georgia Organic, it teaches them, like you said, about that fruit and vegetable, where it's coming from, because you're talking to farmers and educating them, about farming as well. I think that's just so fun. And I was looking at your Instagram account, and there's kids eating kale and carrots, and they're learning about seeds. And your most recent one was from a photo shoot today that you're learning about herbs and spices.
Yeah, I know.
So is that what your kits are about?
It's really, I know we say that it's about the food, but it really isn't. It's about the experience for the children. That's how children learn. They're experiential learners. Like anything that they do, they've got it. Like giving them a list and telling them what to do, that's cute. But if they do it, if they get their hands involved, if they engage their senses, if there's steps for them to follow, then they learn it and they own it. So food here is acting like a medium to pull together different types of learning experiences. And it just so happens that the food that we're talking about is beautiful farm fresh produce, seasonal produce, or even fun things like nuts and seeds where they learn about growing and seasons, or like you said, the herbs and spices, where we're going to go not just into the sensory experience, but the history of herbs and spices and how they've impacted health and wellness and culture and finance all around the world. So when these boxes get delivered to schools, it's a perfect opportunity to pull from like cross-curricular standards and have a beautiful melting pot right in the middle where the kids can really get it. And same thing when it goes home, it's an opportunity for the kids to really experience what's in the kit. And we kind of, as parents ourselves, have a little vested interest in the kids pulling the parents in and having it be an interactive experience for both the kids and the parents.
Because, and I did see on one of your Instagram posts, it says, when you're cutting, and I think it's a picture of the kid cutting cucumbers, like with supervision, right? So you're not saying, go out and take the chef's knife and start chopping without your mom and dad there, right?
And there's lots of guidance even before they get to actually cutting on how they can safely hold a knife. They learn the parts of the knife. They learn how to hold their hands to keep their fingers out of the way. All of that before you even pick up a knife. And it's a safety knife. It's a nylon serrated knife. It's not like we sent sabers.
Actually have it right here. I can unpack it for you if you want to check it out.
See if I can zoom in on you, Erin.
These are actually going out this week, all this month. And so this is the cut it up kit. And so this is what it's going to look like. The kids will get, all the step-by-step instructions on some really easy ways to all right. Yeah, so I'll just kind of walk you through it a little bit. So they get all the instructions on some easy saw and claw and the bridge. Some fun little table talk cards to talk to mom and dad at dinner time, and recipes. So here's a really great one for all the vegetables that they cut. And then obviously they get a gift inside everyone. And this is going to be this really great nylon serrated knife that is great for kids. It's a real knife, but it's a safe knife for kids to practice with. You really can cut just about anything with this. And Asada did some great videos yesterday, just really fun videos that make it really easy for kids to, learn how to cut apples and lemons and squash and things like that. And then these really great cutting boards, which have a good grip and are real. I mean, these are not like kid stuff that you would find at a toy store. Like, they're real tools that they will use and build their kitchen, equipment up for the rest of the year. So every month they get something new, a new skill, a new tool, and a new activity and recipe that they can do with mom and dad at home every month.
And the long-term implications of that are that we're building a certain amount of confidence and competence inside these kids that will stick with them for life and that they can pass on to their kids. Because as a health educator, I work with adults inside of nutrition education, and that is a huge what's missing for adults. They don't have knowledge of the kitchen. They don't know how to use the tools. They don't feel confident to cook for themselves. And so they're always looking for the next diet, the next fad, the next trend or whatever to fix them. Well, we're hoping here with impacting children, and science backs this up. We've got a lot of research behind what we do. By impacting children, not only are we going to impact their health outcomes as adults, there's a trickle up effect inside of their own families. When the children adopt healthy behaviors and attitudes, they insist on the same from their parents. And in America in particular, parents will buy whatever the kids want if it makes them happy. I mean, we really see the impact of marketing towards children and adults kind of acquiescing to children for purchasing.
Well, and that goes to something that Erin had said when, I reached out to you guys originally, is that $1.8 billion of marketing to junk food to kids as young as 2 years old. And that's just scary with everything that's out there and on the commercials, and the fact that the only part where they have to be true or factual is on the nutrition box label, the white box label. So when they're advertising all of that food to the kids in the commercials, oh, it's, you're going to get this trick or you're going to get this toy with it. I like your toys much better because it gives them a long-term skill set as well.
That's true. When you take into consideration how much kids are on tablets, particularly now with remote learning, the commercials on the ads that are on YouTube, the ads that are in the games, the ads that are in the apps. I kind of monitor my kids' television, like, we're doing Netflix instead of cable. So commercials were completely out until all of this other technology came in. So yeah, they're being marketed to heavily for all the foods we probably don't want to push on them.
And I really see our work is education, but in a way it's a different type of marketing. We are, when you watch those commercials, a lot of times it is a little bit about the taste of the food, but it's also about, it's fun, it's exciting, experience this lifestyle. And I feel like, maybe, but I know fruits and vegetables are really exciting too. I mean, there is nothing more interesting and exciting than planting something and watching it grow and trying it. I mean, that's the real deal. Kids will really lock onto that. And I think kids are pretty savvy. And so we can, engage them really naturally through our products. And I think parents get really excited about it too, because it is a real experience that, creates memories. It creates opportunities for family engagement. And so that's what we're locking onto.
And we're real big on exploration and the adventure side of it. Yeah, discovery, all of that. And I'm amazed by how much we put into every kid. It's not like your kid's going to open this and be done with it in 30 minutes. This is something that's going to hang out and they're going to return to it again and again throughout the month because we put so much into every kid.
Okay, so is there something each week for them to do with that monthly kit, or is it?
It's not outlined on a calendar that way, but there's so much in there that I think most kids would get through, say, one activity and be cool for a while. And then they're going to come back and unpack some more. And then there's stickers if you just want stickers. And then there's a journal if you want to do some writing. And, oh, hey, we've got something to measure. And, oh, I got to wait for this plant to grow. But when it does, I'm going to start measuring it and I'm going to draw a picture of it. So imagine planting a seed, then having it grow and then having it produce fruit. That's how long a child can be engaged with one kit. Or imagine we give them a bunch of spices and we teach them how to make a spice rub, but then there's a little extra in there. That child can now paint with those spices or make their own custom spice rub and experiment with tastes and flavors. So they can come back to the kits again and again and again and again.
And I saw Jenna's video on the seeds, the corn seed and the sunflower seed. Now, are you also doing this? Is there stuff on YouTube that you all are producing with the kits that they can go to, or how does everybody get that?
Yeah, every kit usually has 2 or 3 videos that are attached to it, so the kids can meet the farmer, they can learn an activity, and we always, usually have Chef Asada up there, guiding kids through a really simple, fun recipe that includes many, many substitutions. I think that's the other thing is we send these out and she's like, here's one way to make it, but here's 10 other ways to make it if you don't have those ingredients. And that's really important. Easy ones that don't require, these are like foundational recipes that like everyone should know. These are not complicated. These are not souffles. These are not complicated casseroles. These are ways to do really fun, easy recipes that you can enjoy with fruits and vegetables that you can build on for the rest of your life. And for one of the examples was a 1, 2, 3 vinaigrette. And we sent out this cute little, salad jar, and it really has, 3 olive oils, 2 vinaigrettes, 1 mustard, and kids understand that is the foundation for every great vinaigrette. You can add stuff, you can switch it around, but if you understand that, and so she teaches about ratio, she teaches about emulsification. So it's like,
wow, that's a big word.
Understand that. Yeah, right. And I think that's why I love it is so many of the cooking kits out there, are teaching recipes, but they're not really teaching, the foundations of the things that you need to know so that you can, alter it and change it and substitute as you go.
And that's what I mean when I say kids own it. Like there's a difference, and I hear this again, working with adults, there's a difference between following a recipe and knowing how to cook. And so what we're trying to do is do that innate food and science knowledge so that wherever you go, if you run across these materials, you can still make delicious food that's nutritious and that you'll enjoy. And when Aaron was saying we always issue substitutions, there's two reasons for that. We want to be sensitive to everyone's social ecological position right now, particularly with COVID and its impacts on different homes and their economics. So a lot of this is stuff that typically is in pantries or refrigerators at home. So parents aren't going to have to make a special trip to a specialty store. And then there's also substitutions for lifestyle, because we realize that not only is eating plant forward more healthy, but a lot more families have adopted being vegetarian or vegan. And we always have to be aware, of course, and, of the most common food allergies. And Tracy, you and I go, way back on that. So that's another consideration that is taken whenever we put recipes together. So even though they're very simple, they may only have 3 to 5 ingredients. They're not slapdash or haphazard. A lot of thought has gone into making these recipes and these experiences as equitable as possible, as inclusive as possible for children and their families. And safe.
That's so important, especially, with COVID, when we saw so much of, farmers struggling when we did this, but then also I think it really opened our eyes to our food system and where things are broken, and kids getting food, and kids that relied on the school food program to eat. And now this is helping them do that in their own homes, as well. And you don't know where you are and what everybody's situation is when you close the front door, right?
That's true. And Aaron, can you talk a little bit about the Health Empowers?
Yeah, we since we've been creating these kits, we have 2 ways that we're currently serving kids that are at or below the poverty line, and one is through Daymaker, which is an online giving platform. And we are working with them to ship our kits across the U.S. And the other one here in Georgia, in Atlanta, is an amazing group called Health Empowers, and they serve over 500,000 kids here in Georgia. And we've committed to sending them 100 kits a month, thanks to many, many donors out there that are helping us do that. Awesome. And they're bringing them to middle school kids across Georgia. The kids are learning how to use the kits, and then they take it home and they tell their, younger brothers and sisters about it, and, engage parents around healthy eating. So that's been a really, really cool activity through COVID in the last 3 months.
That's very cool. And it's reaching more people than you probably expected to in the first place. And then how have the adults welcomed that into their homes?
I love getting texts and photos from parents. I don't know if that's my favorite part about this job. And I know also you get this all the time, but I got one the other day that was like, since when does my kid like salad? But like, I guess I'll start buying salad now. Or, just because the, carrot was cut in this, little wedge, now my kid will eat carrots. So just those little changes can make big impacts. And I think parents are always way more surprised than kids about the things that they'll eat and try when they have an opportunity to learn about it and engage with it without, having it shoved in their face for the first time at dinner, where it's very scary and risky. And when they just have an opportunity to literally play with their food.
Right. Yeah. And this builds on the science that says kids need multiple exposures. They're kind of hardwired to be a little cautious because anything you put in your mouth can poison you. Okay. But as they age and they start to trust the knowledge and the information around them, they can become more curious, more adventurous, and they just need some help and guidance along the way. I think the parents are really the hard sell. Getting adults to change their eating habits to embrace a plant-forward existence is a lot harder than getting kids to just open up and explore and enjoy and discover fruits and vegetables for what they are. The kids, they're all in, and the parents are pretty much always surprised. It's always a pleasant surprise.
Well, and I was in California for a couple of weeks, and a friend of my friend's company sent home a vegetable box, and they're getting a vegetable box for 12 weeks. And he came out and he's like, Tracy, what are some of these vegetables?
Right.
I don't know what some of these are. And I have this great picture of him showing them off, but it was chard, and which is the rainbow chard, which is just beautiful.
Beautiful.
And there were sweet potatoes, and it was a humongous box, and cauliflower and apples. And I mean, he knew what those were, but the Swiss chard and something else were, and he's like, I don't know what these are. So I think it's adults too, like, oh, I'm not going to eat that. Right. And
adults can kind of taint children's experiences with their own baggage. Which is why it's kind of cool to reach them at school, which is a more open, supposedly less judgmental platform. And often, because I have an after-school program that's 8 years running right now from pre-K to 5th grade, they're not picky. I mean, there are probably 5% of kids who are genuinely picky, and it's tied more to sensory issues. What kids don't like is being forced to try something new. But what kids do love is to own it and experience it and kind of get their toe in the water, play with it, and then eventually dive in. It's not any different from swimming lessons. And and the response is always positive from kids. And here's the other thing. It's not a hard sell. We're not like, you have to take one bite. You have to eat this and you have to clear your plate. We're not doing any of that because they're still learning by seeing what whole fruits and vegetables look like, by seeing what herbs and spices look like, by just learning how they grow, where they come from, that farmers are involved, that humans have to cultivate this food, that we have to protect our earth and we have to protect each other. They're learning all of that, whether they take a bite or not. And taking a bite is the icing on the cake. We do have an incentive though. We do have stickers, tried it.
French fries is the incentive?
You get a sticker if you try it, and that's a big push. Stickers carry a lot of weight.
And the other thing I love about our school kits is we always give children an opportunity to vote and share their opinion about whether they liked it, whether they tried it, and to even go deeper. Making it more about. Tell me how it smelled. How did it taste? What did it look like? What did it remind you of? How would you like this differently next time if you didn't like it? And it's less about, oh, I liked it or I didn't like it. We're really interested in that mindful eating aspect and getting kids to think about food in a way that, will engage them for much longer than, just that moment.
And one of the things I like to tell parents is kids will eat what they grow, kids will eat what they cook, and kids will eat what they are invested in. And so that whole explaining why you didn't like it is their investment, it's their buy-in. Or if you're going to the grocery store and say, can you pick out the cheapest black beans, or you weigh out 1 pound of green beans, they're invested. And it's having them be involved in those different levels that makes it less about parents feeding kids as I'm putting this behavior onto you that I want you to adopt. And it becomes more of a mutual exchange of, this is what we do. We eat vegetables. It's not healthy. It's just normal. We eat fruit. We have herbs in our food. It's not healthy. It's just what we do. So in one way, we're kind of normalizing the behavior we want to see.
And your shirt goes well with that, world changer. And it's changing a philosophy. And our friend Virginia Willis posted the other day about her new book that she put out about her weight loss what she's done, but she's like, have fruits and vegetables out and ready to eat and munch on them versus having the bags of chips in the, cabinet and pulling it out. But it's funny, and I actually have a bowl of tomatoes here. I buy them these weren't at the farmer's market, but I bought them at the farmer's market last year, and I put them on the kitchen counter, and I swear to God, I'll buy 4 pints of them, and my dad and I will eat them within 3 days because they're just there, and it's so good, and it's so fresh, direct from our farmer, Stephen, and it's just so much healthier.
And that works on teenagers too. That's a particularly tough crowd, but not really when you leverage what they are against them. What they are bottomless pits who are always hungry. So leverage that by having fruit out everywhere and bottles of water just everywhere, or a water filling station, and the teenagers will eat because they're kind of lazy too. So teenagers will rather eat the fruit you put out than go in the kitchen and cook something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah.
Work with your family, work with your kids, like leverage that stuff. We know children love sweets. They crave the carbohydrates. They need that energy. They're growing rapidly. So fruit is a great way to address that.
That's awesome. So Erin, what do you feel your greatest accomplishment so far? And when did Small Bites, when you officially launch, and you've sold a couple thousand kits, or how many kits have you sold, and what have you accomplished?
Sure. Well, we started as a pilot back in 2018.
Okay.
And I was piloting this idea over at a group called Center for Civic Innovation. And I did a pitch on this idea, and we got a big order that night. And I think it was for like 7,000 school kits. It was a lot. And since then we became, a business, Small Bites Adventure Club. I think that was in 2019. And we've served over 20,000 kids and almost 200 schools and after school clubs and early care programs. And we have shipped out probably, maybe like 5,000 of these farm to home kits so far. We just started in January. So we're always growing and rapidly evolving and listening to what our clients want and need. And so that's been really fun. Our team is incredible. We have, Asada and Judith and Jenna and lots of other folks that help us pack, and photographers and videographers. And we just have an incredible group of women that I'm so proud of, and I just admire for, what goes into this business, and just the creativity and the fun and the passion. And I don't know, it's a really cool thing to be a part of.
I 100% agree with that. Say that again.
It's a dream team.
It is. It's a dream team. We've all known each other for a really long time. And we've also, we also really admire each other, and we all have different skills, really different skills. And, but it all seems to come together really seamlessly. We work really hard together, but, I don't know. I think one of my favorite things is we have this monthly brainstorming meeting where we're thinking about the themes and the ideas, and, having us all together, even in COVID, on these Zoom meetings, I just walk away thinking, man, I'm the luckiest person alive. I have the best team. And this is something that I'm really passionate about, the farm to school programs and, prevention-based programs. I feel so strongly that there is a need to rapidly address the situation that, kids should be eating more fruits and vegetables. They can be eating more fruits and vegetables, and we need more innovative businesses and nonprofits that are working 24/7 to address this. And I was looking for that for years. And I think when I looked around, I was like, well, we have all the right people right here in our community to work on something really cool and innovative. And that's what we're doing. And it's been a blast. I'm really proud of us. I'm proud of our team.
You should be. Okay. The one question I want to ask, so you guys, ladies, women, it's Women's History Month. And to me, you're making your own history with what you're doing. And Erin, you just pretty much said that. So how do you want to be remembered for what you do in history?
I'm big on empowerment. I want to be remembered as someone who empowered others and that they took what they learned from me and magnified it. I want to be a candle that lights a million other candles, and each one of those candles lights a million other candles. And in that way, I'll be eternal.
I like being eternal.
I hadn't thought of it before.
I can't top that.
You can't top that?
I can't top it. Yeah, that what she said.
Because you're basically doing that by creating the foundation. You are creating that eternity of helping kids understand and parents understand the value of eating fruits and vegetables and what that does, and being good, viable people to the community, introducing them to the farmers and how to make food for themselves. So tell everybody, because you're not just in Atlanta, you have expanded. So how can people find you and order your product, small kit program, the Small Bites Adventure Club program?
Smallbites.club.
Okay.
And there is a tag on the top for farm to home kits and for school kits. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Small Bites Club.
Okay, awesome.
And that's a YouTube page too. The YouTube page.
YouTube. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. The farmers and Jenna. Yes.
And Asa and her little girl have an incredible series called the ABC Adventures. And it is the best. It's on Small Bites Adventure Club YouTube channel. And it's the cutest and the greatest.
And when some of our early care education centers, they can't do field trips right now due to COVID. Okay. So we do have some Meet the Farmer experiences there, where kids can still connect with the farmer beyond what's in the kits, because they also get an introduction there. But this is more visual, and the farmers are talking about, all things farming. So I think that's a great resource as well.
Oh, no, that's awesome. Okay, so two final questions. What is one tip? I'll get one from each of you. What is one tip that you can give that can really help parents or kids teach their parents, or parents teach their kids about fruits and vegetables?
I'll start.
Okay.
Because I can't go after Asada.
Yeah, that gives me time to think.
One tip is, I have two tips, and that is, don't make mealtime a wartime. It is time to enjoy and have fun, and it is not a place to fight about food, because you will never win. And the other thing is to have one little thing that they can do to prepare for dinner to help. And for example, my kid will tear the parsley leaves, to put in the rice, something like that. Help set the table, help it, get them ready for a fun time as a family.
It's funny that you say that, because I'm 52 and I live with my parents. And a couple of months ago, my mom was like, you and Dad need to get in the kitchen here with me, and we need to help with dinner. You need to set the table, or you need to do something with dinner. And even at our age in the 70s and 50s, that is still important. Or my mom was like, okay, it's 5 o'clock. It's time to have a drink and sit down and have a conversation. And so it doesn't matter if you're 4 or you're 52. Sitting down and having that meal with your family, I think, is still really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, because that was going to be one of mine as well. I did an interview and I was saying, you may have your kids for 18 years. So don't panic. You don't have to have them eating the entire spectrum of vegetables by age 6. That's rather ambitious. And then it was, it occurred to me, like, your kids don't necessarily leave at 18. They don't stop being your children at 24. They don't stop being your kids at 48. They're always going to be your children. So the habits that you are instilling, the habits that you model, the expectations that you carry, the examples that you put on the table matter far more than arguing with a 6-year-old about whether or not they're going to finish that cold broccoli. And in fact, you're going to make more of an impression by eat that food, or you're not getting dessert, or you're not getting up from this table, or you're not going outside to play, or you're just going to have to eat it again tomorrow. You're making a far stronger impression with that behavior than you are by serving the broccoli in the first place. So my one tip to parents would be chill, bro. Like, dial it down a little bit. Serve healthy food. Eat, not even healthy, serve fruits and vegetables along with whole grains and lean proteins. Enjoy your food. Make colorful plates. Make things that are savory and delicious that you just love, and really enjoy eating well. Balanced meals, so that when if your kids ever leave, they'll know how to replicate it. And if the tables turn and they're taking care of you one day, they know how to do it.
Right.
You have to be the guiding example. If you want your kids to be great eaters, be a great eater.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a great tip. And I don't even know if I want to ask the other question, but the other question was, would anybody in history, who would you want to have at your table for that conversation and that meal? Dead or alive?
Okay, I'm torn between two. One is my grandmother, Georgia, because I didn't have enough time with her to be an adult and have her as a grandmother. Although I love dearly my grandmother that I do have, but that would be one person. And then the other, Michelle Obama, hands down. Mic drop, boom, Michelle Obama.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. I mean, it's COVID, so I can't wait to have dinner with my mom.
Yeah,
in a really long time, and my dad. So hopefully one day soon. Yeah. I think food has been the one thing that has kept us together. I drop off food, every week, and it's, from the heart, and, it goes back to how do we want to impact communities and families, and food is the easiest thing. It's the first thing you bring to the folks you love. So we're bringing joy back to nutrition and joy back to fruits and vegetables.
All right. With that, we're ending. That was awesome.
So
you're welcome. So Erin Kroom and Asada Reed from the Small Bites Adventure Club, and I will put the links to how you can find them on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram on the feed here in a few minutes. But thanks for everybody tuning in to learn about how to create safe and inclusive food and beverage experiences at the Eating at a Meeting podcast. We'll see you next week. Actually, we'll see you in a couple of hours, because I have another one of these coming live at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome, Erin. Thanks, Asada. Stay safe and eat well.
You too.
All right.